personality. Controversial personality, can I say, Benny? Is that fair?
Yeah.
Is that fair in the language community? But somebody who I've had fantastic contact with, someone who has done nothing but support me and the community and this event, and I'm really grateful for his input, and I'm really grateful for, I'm actually grateful for the controversy that you stir in the community, because it gets people talking. I think that it's, you know, it's something that's possibly one of the things that really gets people who maybe wouldn't get into the dialogue, and it's because of you, in great part. So thank you for that, and thank you for being here today, for coming, and I can't wait to hear what you've got to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, Benny Lewis.
Richard, you got to buy your software, come on. Okay, so what I think is so great is there's so many people here that have such wonderful messages to encourage and inspire language learning. And like Alex's talk just there, I love that. What Susanna was saying is just so important. And the idea of learning Esperanto and so many things that we can discuss this weekend. These are amazing ideas that we should try to get out into the world. One way we can do that is to speak in a conference like this, or enter competitions for the most multilingual student. That's all great, but what can we do by ourselves? And this has been something that I have been focused on and trying to make my little difference. And, you know, controversy aside, my message is very simply to encourage monolinguals. Like, the strategy I might learn a language might be different to some people's, and that's fine. But the very beginning, and I know this because I struggled very, very much to learn a language. I did very poorly in school. I could only speak English. I lived in Spain for 6 months in the expat bubble, not learning any Spanish. So I understand very well what goes on in the heads of a lot of monolinguals. And they don't really care about, you know, is input better than output. They're not interested in that. They just need to get inspired. So I want to try to inspire as many people as possible. And I want, when you have good messages, I want to give you a little helping hand to how to get that message to more people. So first I'll talk a little about the blog side and then the YouTube side, because that's what's brought us all together. So just very quickly, what I've been able to do with my blog is reach these kind of audiences. It's not the big one, is it? Yeah. Oh. Okay. Well done, laser. So to very quickly go through all this, my blog gets 400,000 unique monthly visitors, 500,000 on a good month. I've been on TV, New York Times, not Sunday Times. Last week, I was interviewed on National Irish Radio to talk about Klingon. Someone asked the question just there. 15 minutes on National Irish Radio, and I insulted the radio host. I said, "Your mother has a smooth forehead," in Klingon, which is, for people who know Star Trek, that's a serious mistake. And that was my third time on the same radio station. Like, I'm the go-to guy for all this. I've guest posted on very big websites like Lifehacker, Zen Habits. I had a front page Ask Me Anything on Reddit. Given 2 TED Talks, the last one just came out. 35,000 Facebook fans, 140,000 Twitter followers. And I got 3 pages in a New York Times best-selling book. So these are some of the things I've been able to do with my unique way of presenting my message. It's not about the message, and this is something I want to be clear. It's not that I'm the best polyglot. I think most people here are way better language learners than me. So a lot of people here are more passionate about languages. I'm just a traveller who uses languages as a means to an end. That's how I do it. I learn a language because I want to get into the country. But there are people here who are more passionate about languages, people who know more about languages, who know more languages than me, but there's a reason that I've had this kind of success that I want to kind of discuss today. And on terms of, this has been TEDx, this is on the largest Saturday morning TV show in Australia, so that was fun. YouTube, 2.5 million channel views, 15,000 subscribers, many thousands of comments and all that good stuff. Okay, so how did I get this started? This is what my blog looked like 4 years, just like 4 years ago when I started it up. I started the blog because I had already been traveling the world for 7 years. And I kept meeting people along the way who saw I was learning the language, and I could see all they needed was a little bit of inspiration. Just a little nudge, because they tell me, I go to the expat communities, they tell me, it's okay for you, you have this natural talent, I can't do this. So I heard it so many times that I could have started this earlier, but I'll tell you a little secret of what inspired me to start blogging was a blog I was subscribed to once. He wrote an article that was so terrible. So it had English mistakes, the basis of the article was dumb. And I was reading this in my in Google Reader or whatever, and I was like, you know, this guy has thousands of subscribers. Anyone can write a blog. And that's why I started. I don't have a writing background. I just registered the domain name and started writing. You do not have to be a writer. You don't have to be a native English speaker. There's a lot of people who write blogs in English to get to a bigger audience, and they're not native English speakers. You just have to start. So that's what I did. But with time, I wanted to improve on this, so I changed it to this. And at this stage, I was €4,000 in debt to my credit card. Okay? I was really, really bad off with money, so I couldn't afford to hire someone to design the site for me. So what I did was an exchange, like a language exchange, but I taught this guy some Spanish, and he designed my site for me. So it's not necessarily about having the money to put into this resource, to put into this. You can find ways around some of these things to make your site better, but a good site design is essential. I moved on to make it look like this, what it looks like now. And it's nice and simple, just the two of them. You arrive, you see the title, and one thing that I really recommend if you're going to blog is to make it personal. Language, people learn languages because of like the many reasons we've listed, but they're inspired by the people, whether that's people in history, whether that's people they want to meet now. They're inspired by human beings. So when they're on your website, they want to see your face. They want to see a human behind this blog. So make sure your face is there. And every blog post I write, I actually have a picture of myself. And when you arrive on the blog, I've got a picture of myself in the top right. This is because I feel like this makes a human connection. There's a lot of other blogs, when I arrive on them, I get an idea they're kind of written by like a corporation or something. So keep this in mind. Always make it personal. So yeah, that's what the blog looks like now. And this is just one example. This just a random picture, and by having a nicely designed web page, which you can get for free now. There's many WordPress themes. Start your blog, go to wordpress.com for a free one, or wordpress.org for the software that you'll install on a domain name. Like, it costed me $10 to register fluentin3months.com. And I paid those $10, and then I installed WordPress, and that was it. And I installed a free theme. This theme I got somebody else to design for me. But you'll notice you want to make sure it's social. Everything about a blog is that it's social. So that's why I make sure it's very easy to share things. I've always got these share buttons. This is a plugin that you can, when you're blogging on WordPress, you use plugins to give the site all of these extra features. So you do not need to do any programming. You don't need to be a programmer, you don't need to code anything. Just install a plugin. So this thing on the left is just the social media share plugin. That's not what it's called. I don't know what it's called, but it's one of the plugins you can install like this. This is a plugin just for showing the most popular posts and so on. All of this, no programming at all on my side. Okay? And of course, some of my posts do get a bit of controversy. This is a post I wrote about why I wouldn't live in America, one of my most famous posts. And it creates a lot of controversy. So that's one way to get traffic is controversy, which I don't actually do that much. It's people argue on forums and stuff, but that doesn't give me a lot of my readership. That's something I do like once a year. I'll have some controversial post like this. What gives the readership is the stories. And the main reason that my site is as big as it is because people have a reason to stick around. And this is why I think it's not about being the smartest language learner with the best advice. It's that somebody wants to hang around your site. So if you're writing a blog about Ladino, you can give, a series of like tips about Ladino, or a series of interviews with Ladino speakers, or whatever it may be, but you have something that entices the person to come back to your site. That's part of the story. Whether that's the 5 best ideas for whatever it is, you think about that. In my case, it's been the story of trying to learn a language. So I have the entire process from the beginning with videos and all of these things, pull people in and it gets them interested. So if you're writing a blog and if you're making a YouTube channel, try to have an interesting story. It's not just like, I don't upload videos talking about how to learn a language. I almost never do that. My videos are me struggling in the language or interviewing somebody about something interesting in that language. And it's using the language. So this is, for me, it's unique because I don't want to talk about always just how to learn a language. Because my focus is just to show people that you can. Okay? So another fun thing that I do is I get help from people so that I can do things that I'm not able to do. So I can't use Photoshop. I've never learned how. And I don't really have the time to Photoshop things. So this funny thing, just for my mini project to revive my dead Hungarian, to bring it back to life. What I did is I went to a website called Fiverr, Fiverr.com, and I paid $5, so whatever that is, €3.50 or something, and the guy did this for me. I told him what I needed to do. I sent him the background image. I took this photo of myself, and I said, make my skin green and put in some comic book style things and give me a Frankenstein look. And he did that. So for this $5 investment, I got somebody to help me. And for instance, all of my videos are always captioned. They always have subtitles. Because if it's in another language, I think it's very important that you try to make sure it's understandable to as many people as possible. And uploading a video in some random language is great, but captioning it is annoying. It's time consuming. So people on Fiverr.com will do it for you. These are people who live in like the middle of China or in the Philippines, where for them, not only is that a lot of money, but you're not actually taking advantage of them, because this guy would have done this image in 10 minutes. So if he does like an hour of just constantly doing more requests and more requests, he's actually earning a lot of money. And so you're not taking advantage of people in poorer countries. You're helping them. I think €3.50 is a cool little investment for something like this. And when your site gets big, you can start. You can write it. And like one way I finance my site is I wrote this ebook, which I had people help me with translations, and actually the French translator Christine is here with us today, so thank you very much for that, Christine. But in terms of making sure people are happy when they're on the site, what really inspired me to try and make a living out of my website, which is a great thing to be able to do, was I met professional bloggers. I met people who make their living blogging, but they don't write about language learning. And I get a lot of my inspiration for how I make my site and how I get ideas for good blog posts for people who blog about completely different things. And it's the same with YouTube. I get some of my ideas from like the Vlog Brothers, for instance, which is a big YouTube channel. I see what are they doing, and that seems to work well, so I'll apply to what I did. So for instance, the Skype Me Maybe video, the inspiration I got from that was a channel that I'm subscribed to where this guy did a collaboration with other people who blog about computer games. And they all kind of got together from across the world over Skype and sang together. And I thought it was such a great idea that I was like, I want to do that with languages. And that's how I got the idea, the inspiration to do the Skype Me Maybe video. So don't look for your inspiration just from other language bloggers and vloggers, but from everywhere around the world. Everyone who has an interesting website has something that they're doing that can inspire you in yours. One way I found out how to improve my own site is I did a little survey, and Google lets you do surveys very easily. You can do it for free. I sent this to my readers. They told me what they liked and what they didn't like. So, like for instance, there's all these email pop-up things, and I wanted to see, would that be a good idea to put on my site? And everyone said no. Those are annoying. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to do it. And you always have to think of the perspective of the person reading your site. But going on to YouTube, because that's what brought us all together. And I've taken this very seriously. I wanted to see why are some YouTube videos popular and some aren't. Like, why is that? There has to be some logic behind it. And it's not just a case of, you know, the most multilingual person will get the most views. There are very, very specific reasons for this. So this is just a quick look at the most popular videos on my channel. So the Skype Me Maybe video, that's popular because it was a collaboration and because the community shared it.